Welcome to Motivational Monday. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today, I'd like to share with you one of the first business lessons I learned, and ironically, completely a non-business related topic from Louis XIV, King Louis XIV, about his commissioning of the Palace of Versailles. But before we start, make sure to smash the like button, share, and do subscribe, especially if you find value in this presentation. Okay, so here I am studying about European history, Louis XIV in 1600s in Europe, in France, and he commissions to make this Palace of Versailles, which is absolutely magnificent. If you've ever seen it, it is a palace. It really is, in all intents and purposes. It has the Hall of Mirrors. It's just a very significant, iconic place in France. It's about 11 miles away from Paris proper, from the city of Paris. So it's a little bit outside the city, but really, in all intents and purposes, in those days, it was outside the city. But today, it's probably considered part of Paris proper. Now, with that said, okay, we're going back to about the 1600s, and we're living in Europe, right? And so here we go. Our king decides to make a palace in the middle of nowhere. Now, we're some of the people that surround the king, and so sure enough, we gravitate to be around the king, right? So what did the people do who were in his entourage? They had to move 11 miles in horse and buggy to where this palace was, the Palace of Versailles. So you could imagine that, it wasn't so comfortable for people. Number one, it was outside the city. And number two, it was very dangerous in those days on horse and buggy, especially if it took you more than one day to get to a certain place, to travel back and forth, right? And so after he dies, guess what happens? Everybody leaves. So there's a moral to the story that my history teacher did make, is that sometimes people just do things in order to impress other people. I mean, the only reason these people actually gravitated to these parties is to be seen and to be heard and to be showed in front of everybody else. And that was one of the first lessons I learned in business, is to actually don't show. Keep it to yourself. Success has a lot of blessings in it if you keep it, if you maintain it, if you hold it, and you hold it to yourself. Don't flaunt it per se. There are obviously people that flaunt it for various different types of reasons, but the lessons I got early in trading was keep it to yourself. Like if you were up in a certain day, so what? What does it make a difference? And so you could buy yourself a nice car. So what? And therefore, what does that have to do with the next trade that you're going to do? What does it have to do with the next step you're going to have to do? All these things are going to take you away, certainly, from your game plan if you look at money as just a means to buying things. And I really felt that in the beginning, because when you see early success early on, you buy things, you buy things, you buy things, and now the success is so much associated to just buying things and not to the actual game plan, that when the going gets tough, you're not focused about the game plan, you're focused about the fact that you're not able to get these things anymore as a means for why you're working. So with that said, okay, and this actually gravitates itself to many levels. I mean, do you think that Warren Buffett sits there counting his money every single day? 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. It would take him forever, right? He's got billions. If he sat there counting, hundreds even, it would still take him all day long. So counting your money is not the goal. And there used to be a very famous trader, and those of you who have attended my webinars or who have attended some of my courses know that I reference him a lot. He is the godfather. He is the pinnacle of technical trading. And his name was Jesse Livermore. You could Google him. You should certainly get his book and read it. I've recommended it a million times. And it's really important to note that in his personal life, right, he stood there once a year, okay, in his good years, counting his money. That was it. All the other times, he never counted his money. And it was not anything that he felt that he needed to do, except for one time, so he doesn't lose the connection with the value of money. Meaning the only reason that he sat there in the vault counting his money was that he didn't want to see it as just a thing, but he wanted to see it as a value, of something that he could do for other people. And I really believe in that. And I believe on a person, keeping his success to himself, not flaunting it. And that doesn't mean that you have to, dress in ripped clothing, right? I mean, we had an anomaly in our office when we were first starting to trade where my boss actually did come in with like ripped jeans or whatever it was, and you would never know it. You was probably the last person you would actually guess was the wealthiest person on the desk. And sure enough, he was. And I believe that that was part of his success. That was part of his secret of success. And you see that a lot of people that are very successful are actually very humble and very approachable and easy and down to earth. And money is just an outcome of their success. And it wasn't their goal. And that's a lesson that I think in this particular situation is really valuable for us to keep focused on the game plan and not about the money so much and what the money can actually, unfortunately, do to people as we've seen so many times. Thank you for joining me for this Motivational Monday. We'll see you here next week.